Hello and welcome back to The Movies Made Us Do It. Me and Matt are back. How are you, Matt?
I am pretty good, so how are you?
I am very well. I'm excited to cover this one. This is a fun movie.
Yeah.
I think an underrated. Is it underrated anymore? It went through a period of being very
I think I
underrated.
think I think it's caught up a little with
Yeah,
a lot of
it certainly
new.
has recently caught up a little more, but I was always a big fan of this movie. I
Me
will
too.
grant you there are definitely issues towards the end.
Yep.
Definitely, and we can cover that. But overall, this is a fantastic movie.
It is
Um,
slightly too long.
it is.
It could
I
probably
think. I think it's
do with
got
a
the
little
right.
bit.
Yeah, I think it has the right balance though between
Yep.
like the movie world and the real world. It's got a
Hmm.
good balance there. Um, I mean, I think my main issue, my only real issue with this movie actually is just like, what are the rules in the real world? Because some people
Yeah.
lose all their powers and some people seem to still have their powers, and it's very
Yeah.
strange.
Because I
Um,
sort of I wondered about that when he's talking about like bringing Dracula in and bringing
yeah, because
King
you're
Kong
like
because
his
yeah, well,
you,
he Slater's walked in and he's got pretty much no powers or no things, and he can't
but
punch
then
through
but then
glass.
Death shows up
Yes,
with full death powers.
yeah,
And you're like, surely when he shows up, whatever his name is, bad guy man,
yeah,
um, would he not just have massive depth perception issues and just like be like a terrible shot now?
yeah. He just can't shoot at all.
But there are some wonderful moments. I love this movie overall. I know we
Mhm.
started on a couple of weird negatives there, but it's minor things. It's nitpicks in a
Yeah,
movie that I adore.
yeah. Because
Um,
we were discussing this the other week, and we both said
yeah.
we prefer this to True Lies,
Oh,
and
100% I prefer this to True Lies.
I do too. But everybody seems to love True Lies, and
I
don't get
like
me
True
wrong.
Lies. I
Yeah, I like
like
True
True
Lies, but
Lies.
I never understood the sort of real passion that people have for it.
I think True Lies, and well, I guess we'll cover it one day. For me, I like it a lot, but it is one of the lesser Schwarzenegger movies of the period,
Hmm.
and one of the lesser Cameron movies as well. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not bad, but
No,
this
no,
is
it's
this is
not.
infinitely more fun to me.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just that it's way more fun than I
Hmm.
think that is.
Maybe
But I guess it depends on your sense of humor, I suppose. But
I think as a film fan and a fan of going to the cinema and movies,
yeah,
this just hits a spot for me, you know.
yeah,
And it does so many things perfect,
hmm,
which we'll get into as we watch the movie.
yeah,
Shall we get into it?
yeah.
Well, I guess actually as well. When did you see this in a cinema?
I did see this in the cinema. Yeah,
All right, okay. So I didn't. This was a home video situation for me in '93. I guess '94 by the time I saw it.
yeah,
Um, but it was one that was in constant rotation in the VHS. This one,
yeah.
it was always getting played. Used to love this movie. Still do. So, um, yeah. But anyway, um, let's yeah, let's let's get into it. This movie, I love the opening of this movie.
Yeah.
And this actually the opening of this actual movie and later the opening of the fake movie,
Yep.
it's filmed so perfectly as if it were an actual movie, like
Yep.
of the period, like an action movie of the period.
Yeah.
um I mean, the opening here is I love there's like 5 million police
Yeah. Yeah.
just like police from the entirety of America have turned up to
And
this.
the most Dutch of Dutch angles as well. It opens up on
Yes, and then it
like
kind of
full
turns though, you
full
know.
tilted angle, and it's. I
Yeah.
mean, as to the making it look like an action movie. I mean, it was directed by McTiernan, so you know
Yeah.
he done Die Hard and Predator,
Yeah.
so he's got pretty good
Mm-hmm.
creds
Yeah.
already.
Oh, 100%. And we're instantly kind of introduced to Frank McRae's Decker, right, the lieutenant, who's
Yeah.
gets shot at And they kind of look up, and the killer throws the gun down, and he throws one of the police down. Like, I guess one of the SWAT team that they tried to send in. And then we get, and again, it's funny because it wouldn't be something, it's not something you wouldn't necessarily not see in one of these movies.
Yeah.
But you get to see Jack Slater walking over the top of the police cars for no reason whatsoever. Cigar in his mouth.
It's not like a couple, it's like a full-on car park.
No, it's a row. He walks the whole row. And given that you've just had an active shooter as well, like everyone was taking cover, he just walks in across the top of the police cars. Of course, he's immediately berated by the lieutenant. And he says, if you go in there, is your badge. And of course, Slater throws him his badge. And then Mayor Tina Turner turns up briefly. The cameos in this movie, by the way, are on point. There are some amazing cameos in this movie.
What gets me is that people are like baffled by the cameos. And now don't get me wrong, later on when you get the sort of random stars turning up at premieres.
Oh, I kind of enjoyed some of that, actually.
But the point is that, have you ever seen a movie premiere? The most random celebrities turn up to those things.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. No, yeah, 100%.
With the movie at all, they just turn up for these things. So
their publicist tells them, "Hey, it would be good if you're here on the red carpet. Yeah, get on the red carpet, get a photo. Yeah." So of course, the lieutenant he calls in to say there's a plainclothes police officer in the building. Jack enters, immediately heads to the roof, where we see the serial killer man, the Ripper, who has his son, Andrew,
played by the great Tom Noonan.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant the kid. Then I was like, what no. Like totally threw me. Yes, playing the Ripper, and he is great in this role as well. Fantastic.
Weirdly, as I think I said the other day, we've been watching X-Files,
and
he
was X-Files. Yeah, he was X-Files.
And the weirdest thing is, it's one of the stupidest episodes as well, because he turns up and he's great in it because he plays this serial killer who like killed children, and Mulder put him away. But there's like a load of bodies that he didn't tell them about, so they're and Mulder's trying to get them back, and he sent him this letter saying that he killed his sister, and you're like, how does that work? Because he
stole a UFO and abducted his sister.
We've seen an older version of his sister, and like a couple of episodes before this one, we've seen a whole field full of clones of his sister.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Fucking X-Files, man.
Some of the stories in X-Files are really dumb.
Let's start this tangent. Let's start this fucking tangent right now. The X-Files started off great. I think the first 3 seasons or so, superb. And then it just... Because you get to a point... There's a point in that show where there's literally a shape-shifting man shapeshifts in front of Scully. He's like Mulder, and then he shapeshifts into someone else in front of her.
Yeah.
And then she's still like, oh no, this alien thing's bullshit.
Aliens
it's like, what? I mean, by the end of the movie, she's been abducted herself and fuck knows what as well.
On more than one occasion. Yeah.
But yeah, some of it's great and some of it's real ropey.
They do seem to sort of have a really bad show Bible, because they sort of forget things all the time, and it's like, no, we know these things. It's weird, but it's still good. I'm still enjoying it so far.
It's good for the most part. But anyway, Tom Noonan, fantastic in any role, is the point.
Yes.
And of course he tells Jack to lose the cannon. Which of course he does, and then he says, "And the rest." And
it's like, what? Only one gun, Jack.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I thought was quite funny is when he says to lose the cannon, he places it on the ground, and for a sec I'd forgotten all this, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." He actually put it on the ground, and he didn't just drop it like people do in these movies. And then when he puts
the other one in front of him, but then you're like, for a minute, you're like, oh wow, he's going to be realistic and stuff. He's going to actually be He's gonna actually be careful. Nope. And then of course he says, "Is that everything?" And he's like, "Yep, that about does it." And he's like, "Unless you count this as a weapon." And he's got a hand grenade. And of course, the Ripper's like, "What? Yeah, sure, you're gonna sacrifice your own kid to kill me? Like, ridiculous." But of course, Jack's thrown it, so he gets Andy to pick up the grenade. Andy presumably just knows, hey, if you're ever in a kidnap situation, I'm going to throw what seems to be a live grenade at your feet. It will have a knife in it. But again, it's perfect because it's action movie logic.
Yeah,
and it's fine. And it totally works for that, for that reason. So, of course, Andy stabs the Ripper. Jack grabs the gun, and then we will come back to this scene later. Because because
it goes out of focus.
It goes out of focus. The film goes out of focus. And we're then introduced to Danny Madigan, the star of the show, or co-star of the film, who screams up to Nick that the film's out of focus. You get the obligatory old guy trying to sleep in the cinema. And then he goes out to the concessions and tells the guy at concessions that the film's out of focus. And the concessions go like, I literally don't give a shit. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, the theater is a complete shithole.
They're tearing it down, aren't they? Isn't that?
It's falling apart, and it's graffitied everywhere, and nothing seems to work.
Well, I think he says it's getting bulldozed like in a month or something, or a couple of months, isn't it? It's not long for the bulldozer. So he goes up and meets Nick, who is oh god, who is that actor? Robert Proksky, who played this character in every film that I saw him in, and he's just a really sweet old guy in everything he's in. I love him.
Yeah.
And he's great here.
What was it? We talked about him in something the other day.
Well, that's what kicked this off. I think is what kicked off us doing this movie. Yeah, we were talking about him.
Because I think the thing we remember him most from was Gremlins 2, wasn't it? Where he was the sort of Grandpa Munster type character.
Yes, fantastic in that role. And then I think I said, and Last Action Hero, and then we started down this rabbit hole, which we now find ourselves firmly in.
Yeah.
So he apologizes. He says, "Oh, this never used to happen to me." Obviously, he fell asleep, and he says, "Look, I might be able to make it up to you, because as you know, the new Jack Slater film is coming out next week, I think it is, or whenever." And he's like, "Well, I've got to check the reel tonight. I'm going to be playing it just by myself at midnight, and I could arrange for you to get a special screening." Which of course excites him. He's a huge diehard Schwarzenegger Jack Slater fan. I guess the Jack Slater movies are his favorite movies. It's very old school that this theater is playing Jack Slater 3 right up until Jack Slater 4 releases.
Well, I get the impression that the kid's the only one that goes there anyway.
He's like the one guy that totally. So of course he's massively late for school. We'll get to that in a minute, but he then goes to I guess it's a
actually what does he say?
Or a history class?
What does actually the guy say to him? He says, "Hey, if you're quick enough, you'll only be 3 hours late."
Yeah, and at that point, you're like, you might as well not show up. And it
also,
actually causes a plot hole later on.
Also, why is this old dude like not sending you to school before then anyway?
Yeah, that is a bit weird. But fine. I guess, he doesn't care. He's a lonely old man. He just wants someone to watch his films,
Yeah.
It's like, please, anyone. So we're then taking, I guess it's history or something class where we're showing they're showing a film.
I would have thought it was literature.
Or maybe literature, yeah.
Because they're doing Hamlet, aren't they? So because
I guess they're doing
The teacher starts talking about being the one of the
he was the first action heroes, yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah, and how much how much it's he does, and he may seem passive, but he's not. He does things and all that sort of stuff. And I love it. She says, "We're going to show you the Laurence Olivier version, you may remember him from the Polaroid ads from the
yeah,
or as Zeus from Clash of the
Clash of the
Titans.
Titans. Yeah.
And the coolest thing is, you know that actress that's Joan Plowright. She was Laurence Olivier's wife.
Yeah.
She was his third wife. So I think it's quite funny that they gave her that part and that she was willing to kind of send up herself, I suppose, and her husband in this sort of weird way.
This whole movie is a send up of film, and I mean, primarily action films, but a lot of different things related to film, so it works. Also, but of course, go on.
That the version of Hamlet they show is one of the best.
Yes,
on screen anyway.
Yes,
my
until
favorite
Jack Slater turns up.
Yeah, but I love it. You get the Hamlet sort of monologuing and stuff, and
yes,
he's like, "Don't talk, just kill him."
Yeah, so then he imagines that Jack Slater is in Hamlet. And you got some great bits like fair night say put away your stay your hand, and he's just like, who said I'm fair? And it just starts oozing people. Yeah, good fun.
It's such a fun little it can always be a proper trailer for his Hamlet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It works really well.
Back at home, he's watching Looney Tunes, and his mother's taking a call from the school. And this is like, why did this makes... So they're like, he missed a bunch of lessons today. And she's like, oh, he was deathly ill, sorry. And it's like, yeah, but he turned up for half the day.
Yeah.
Like, he was deathly ill only in the morning for 3 hours, then he was fine.
And that's actually a really nice transaction as well from the thing straight into the Looney Tunes.
Oh, it's great because later you've got the Acme Dynamite and stuff as well, so it totally fits.
It's really setting it up at how silly the sort of movie is, really.
Yeah. So his mum, obviously a very caring mother, she sticks up for him and says he was ill. She's like a member of the PTA or something. So she's like, I can't be lying to the principal. This is, it's terrible for me. I'm a charter member of the PTA. And you get the impression she's just worried about her kid. She's divorced, I assume, or maybe widowed, divorced or widowed.
So widowed, yeah, because
widowed. Okay,
because there's a thing about losing. That's one of the themes of the movie. It's about losing fathers and how Jack is basically his father figure.
Yes, his on-screen father figure.
And we get when at the end with the confrontation with a certain character who we won't talk about yet. He sort of says something there that we'll get to.
Yeah. So Danny promises not to cut school again. And then waits for midnight, which is when Nick is going to screen the film. So he's waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then just as he's about to leave, there's a break-in, and he gets
he told not to leave the apartment, isn't he? Because it's like, there are dangerous people out there.
Yeah.
And he opens the door and somebody's walking past. So he quickly closes the door. He waits there for a bit. But of course, whoever walked past noticed and has come back.
So he's kind of forced into the bathroom at knife point. And he has a moment. He has a moment where he's like, I've watched these action films. I can be tough.
Yeah.
And he kind of looks to go for the knife or go for him. And then the guy puts the knife down on the side, on the sink. And he's like, go on then. And he turns his back and the kid just freezes. Obviously, you're a kid, And I think even if you're an adult, like I would probably freeze in this situation. If someone's got a fucking knife, they've just forced their way in. It's not worth your life, Things don't work like that in real life.
I'd like to think I would do something if he put the knife down and gave me the opportunity.
But... Oh yeah. If you went that far, yeah. If he was that stupid, I would, probably would. But he is a kid,
Yeah.
So of course he ends up at the police station, ultimately.
Yeah. Being
and
cuffed, isn't it? He tells him to cuff himself to the
yes,
sink.
he cuffs himself to the sink, and then ends up at the police station. And then ultimately, when he leaves the police station, he's told, like, your mum will be home as soon as possible. Go home. He then leaves and goes to the cinema instead, of course.
Yeah.
And here we have
it's all locked up, and he goes to the back and sort of pounds on the door.
Yeah. Nick says he says, oh, I almost gave up on you, you know, and he's like, oh, I'm really, really sorry, you know. But he's here now. And of course, Nick, you get the impression this is, you know, because he does say that the place is going to be bulldozed and stuff. You know, this is his last kind of hurrah, and he's in his full outfit. You know, he's in the full classic, you know,
usher
outfit. Which is what he says. He says he started as an usher, didn't he? It was his first job. And
he clearly hasn't worn this outfit for a very long time.
No, it doesn't fit particularly well, and it's obviously, you know, a very classic considering the state of the cinema.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anyone's been wearing this for a while.
No.
So he goes, you know, Danny goes to walk in, and he's like, hey, hold on a minute, you can't go in without a ticket, you know. And
he says he always wanted to be a magician, because when he's talking about the outfit, and he says, you know, he always wanted to be a magician, and then he talks about the ticket. And then he explains,
and he says that Harry Houdini played this theater, the theater they're in right now.
Yeah.
And which I love as well, because it's like Nick has been in the cinema, this theater, his entire life. Like, this cinema and theater is his life. But he says that Harry Houdini played the theater, and he gave him this ticket, and he said, oh, this is a magical ticket given to him by the best magician in India, and it was given to him by someone else, the best magician from somewhere else. It kind of goes around the world, basically. And he says it's a passport to a magical land, and he gives it to him. And so Nick gives it to Danny, and he says, you know, now it's yours, your ticket. And Nick questions, he's like, what does it do? And Danny questions, what does it do? And Nick says, I never had the heart to find out. You know, he was afraid that it wouldn't work, because you know, obviously being a magician, he looked up to the great Houdini, and you know, he didn't want to be disappointed or crushed by it doing nothing, I suppose. Although I do love that he does have a moment where he's like, oh, what if it does work though? You know, it's like, But he does also say a bit of exposition about Houdini said the ticket has a mind of its own, and it does what it wants to do, and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was given a warning. But in any case, he tears the ticket. He puts one in the stub bin, and gives the other half to him, and tells him to retain his ticket. And then Nick heads up and fires up the projector. I love the opening of this fake movie. Is so perfect for dumb movies of the time.
Yeah.
You know, where the logo melts, and then you've got the metal, and the metal bursts open, and then you've got the wall, and the wall breaks. And you know, it's just so good. And I've seen, not this over the top, but I have seen many credit sequences doing similar silly things, you know?
Yeah.
And then it does the Jack Slater 4.
If you want silly opening credits, I remember the one that always sticks in my mind is the one for Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
Yes,
that's got the 3D crash through the metal. Which is
terrible. But it then comes up with Jack Slater 4, and you've got the scenic landscape. You got the ocean and the mob base, of course. Or is it Frank's house? It might be Frank's house, but it's bloody massive. I think it's the mob boss's house that he's been kidnapped.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the mob boss's house.
So we're introduced to the mob boss, who constantly gets his sayings wrong, which I quite enjoy throughout the movie.
Yeah, and Anthony Quinn as Tony Vivaldi is he's your typical sort of mafia bad guy, isn't he? But sort of turned up to buffoonery.
As you would expect from a very silly action movie.
Yeah.
He says to him that he wants information about Jack Slater, and Frank says, "Oh, we only ever talk muzzle velocities."
Yeah.
And then, of course, we are introduced to Charles Dance, the wonderful Charles Dance, playing Benedict. One of the coolest villains. Who is in a comedy, a silly comedy, but he's so good. And I think there's something about Charles Dance that even when he's playing such a goofy character, he can still be very intimidating just from being Charles Dance.
I think it's just his demeanor and his voice.
Yeah, it is. It totally is.
He sells evil very well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you get the sort of little target shot next to his head, next to
yes.
What is it? It's Slater's favorite second cousin.
Favorite second cousin. There's a running joke in the movie that basically every movie they have to kill off someone that Slater knows so that he goes on revenge. And you get the feeling that it's always a cousin and non-important character that they can kill off, So yeah, and you see that he's not a big fan of the mob boss at all. I mean, he works for him, but there's no respect.
He keeps correcting the mob boss, but under his breath. He doesn't actually correct him properly.
Yeah.
He keeps calling him things like, was it spaghetti slurping idiot and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the film then, we see Danny kind of in the cinema enjoying his popcorn, saying, "Oh, you're gonna get it, boy. Are you gonna pay?" and whatever. You then got the cops outside Frank's house as Slater pulls up. You've got the cop who's like a day from retirement or whatever. And Jack.
Yeah, they're about to break in, aren't they? Basically, they're about to break the door down.
But I love the shot that Slater pulls up.
Yeah.
Presumably hasn't seen the cops yet, you assume, because he carries groceries in. But I love that he pulls up with his gun in his hand, and then he puts the gun in he then holsters the gun to pick up the groceries, and you're like, he just drives around with his gun out all the time.
Of course he does.
Of course, he turns up with the groceries. Yeah, and the cops tell him, "Hey, we're here. We've had a tip off," and he's like, "Yeah, that's ridiculous. This is Frank's house. It's my second favorite cousin."
It's a drug bust, isn't it? He says the only drugs in there are going to be aspirin, which you guys will need if you break that door down.
Yeah, and then he goes to kick it and changes his mind.
Yeah. That's always one of my favorite things in stuff where you get like. Well, actually, it was a big thing in D&D that we always forgot. And it's like you come to a door, and we're like, "Oh, I'll pick the lock. I'll kick it through." And then
just try it.
Just opening. If you just try handle.
No, it can never be that easy. So, Jack immediately sees Frank upon opening the door. And he's tied up and clearly dying. He says, "Oh, this is super important. Hear me before I die." And he's like, "Oh, Tony Vivaldi and the Torelli mob are joining forces." And then he goes, "I'm out of here." And just
I'm out of here. Final words are "I'm out of here," which is brilliant.
Yeah, it's so good. I hope those are my final words. That's superb. And then another stupid movie moment that I love so much, when he picks up the cards.
Yeah.
And it says 2 Jacks later, and then he opens it, and it's literally a countdown. And it takes him until it gets to like 2 before he realizes that it's a bomb. And of course, the whole building and the cop car and the cops, everything explodes. And Danny like immediately knows.
Yeah, you cut to Danny, and he says, "What is it? Is it? Oh, he'll be fine. Those 2 other cops are dead, though."
Yeah, I think he's like minor injuries, both cops dead.
Yeah.
And then you got the cop in the tree who's like 2 days to retirement or whatever.
Like, hanging there. Awkward angles. That was a day of retirement.
And then you get AC/DC kick in. and one of the most awesome fucking car chases in a silly movie ever. I love this car chase. It's so fun.
And that big gun, that was
Arnie
actually asked them personally to write that song for him.
I actually think it's a really, really underrated AC/DC track. I must admit, I think I mainly love it because of this sequence. But
and that probably helps.
But it's an awesome song.
We didn't mention actually the fucking soundtrack on this is amazing because it starts with Alice James.
Yeah,
you get Alice James, and it gets like double bonuses for me because it's got Megadeth on it and it's also got Queensryche. So no fucking very few movies use bloody Queensryche, and I'm dead chuffed with that one.
Or Megadeth actually.
Yeah, true.
So you get the guys chasing Jack. They're in a van and they have old school bundles of dynamite.
Yeah,
that they're pulling out of an Acme crate, lighting and then throwing at Jack. Some of them explode.
I love the way that they're in. That they've got this like really cool no rider pickup, old school sort of pickup, and just the way that they're all bundled in it, like literally bursting out of the seams of this truck.
So the dynamite's going flying and exploding. At one point, Jack shoots one of the bundles, and it ends up coming through the screen and landing next to Danny. He starts calling out to Nick, because obviously he realizes and he sees the bundle kind of rolling down towards him. And then he tries to put it out with his popcorn, and then he starts running. It explodes. And the next thing he knows, he's in Jack Slater's car.
Yeah.
And Jack immediately looks down and he's like, "What? What are you doing here? How the hell did you get here?" And he says, "Well, stay flat and close your eyes." So the car chase continues on every time, and then that's another thing I love about this movie. In the movie world, anytime you even graze a car with a bullet, it explodes. Like every time. Which they play off of later when it comes to the real world.
Yeah.
But you get those guys shooting it Slater. Every time they miss him and hit a car, the car explodes. Like you're down a road and every cars on every side are exploding.
I love it. He turns around and he's talking to him like with shoot, and he's shooting back at the guys, and the kid's like, "Hey, are you driving with no hands?" It's like, "Yeah, it's easy. I do it all the time. It's fine. As long as you don't do it in heavy traffic, is all right."
Yeah. He shoots. Jack shoots an ice cream truck, and a guy gets killed from an ice cream cone to the back of the head.
Oh, it's brilliant, and it's just the explosion and the ice cream truck in the back, ice cream in the back of the head is wonderful. It's
so good. And then you get the line from Arnie, which until like yesterday when I watched this with subtitles on, I could never quite work out what he was saying. Now I can read it. I was like, oh no, that is actually quite good. So he says, iced that guy to cone a phrase. Which is wonderful, but I think because of Arnie's accent, I could never quite. I was always like, what did he say? I knew he said ice that guy, but then to cone a phrase.
I did exactly the same as you. I actually put the subtitles on just to see what it said in the last bit.
And it's actually quite clever and funny, and I just never got it before because I was always like, what did he say? I don't think he says two either in the dub, which is the problem.
Yeah.
He just says cone a phrase. I'm like, what?
Yep.
So anyway, Danny's in kind of mixed feelings. He's like, this is really happening. This is really happening. And then the dynamite lands next to him. He's like, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. You get the bit when he puts Slater reaches back and puts out the dynamite whilst riding the car sideways to avoid a petrol truck.
Yeah.
Switching the mini disc player to another track.
Yep.
Mini discs in '93. That's fancy.
I know.
Probably sponsored by Sony or something, but
probably.
But then you get the black van turns up with a minigun. A guy comes out with a minigun out the side.
Because of course it does.
Because of course it does. So they head into the viaduct, don't they? They jump off the bridge and into the viaduct. Very Terminator 2-esque. And I think those viaducts will forever remind me of Terminator 2. It's just kind of imprinted.
Grease as well.
Or Grease, yeah, that's true. So yeah, the chase continues through the viaducts. Ultimately, they end up jumping off onto like the sponsored Coke trucks.
Yep.
Which again is great because it's a sponsor for the movie, but also it's a sponsor for the fake movie, and it's kind of making fun of sponsors whilst also actually being a sponsor. It's quite brilliant. And then you get Jack explaining the wonders of growing up with the premature ejaculation and acne and stuff. Really good.
Yeah, you've got so much to look forward to. Acne and premature ejaculation. You think, wow, that's something you look forward to.
But then of course we get the chicken. I don't even know where the fuck. I guess they're on a Hollywood lot.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what it's meant to be. It's Beverly Villas is what it says on the side of the building, but I was never quite sure what the hell was going on. Danny calls it out to be a movie set, right? He's like, this is a movie set.
That's the point, isn't it? He says, because that's why the scene changed so quickly, because we're in a movie.
Yeah. But of course you get the famous, infamous chicken scene. So he says, "Oh, you're gonna play chicken, aren't you?" Just like Jack Slater, and doesn't he tell him? Doesn't he say like, "Have you got any fingers?"
Yeah.
He's like, close. He's like, "Have you got any fingers?" He's like, "Close your fists."
Keep them crossed or something, I think, isn't it?
Oh yeah, cross as many as you can. That's right. Yeah. And then of course, the chicken begins. Everyone ignores that they've got guns for a minute. Just to do chicken, I guess.
And like one of them ends up getting blown into a dumpster.
Yeah, they swerve into Acme cardboard boxes. And one of the guys literally it turns into a dummy and gets thrown into the air. And then they crash into wherever the fuck they are, and you've just got all the girls running around in underwear while a guy parades around on fire.
Yeah. I absolutely love the every woman in this movie is drop dead gorgeous and in some kind of rubber outfit.
But I love that later on he's like, where are the normal girls? There are no normal girls. Everybody's beautiful here because this is a movie. And he's like, no, this is California. So anyway, they head to the police station. And this is a great contrast because he's just been at a real police station, right?
Yep.
Now he's at the movie police station.
Yeah, which is the real police station being an absolute shithole.
Shithole, yeah. And now it's like super spacious. You get Robert Patrick, the T-1000, walking out the door.
And also you get Sharon Stone's character from Basic Instinct.
Yep.
She comes out before the T-1000 does, doesn't she?
Yeah. And Danny the whole time is just like, this is way nicer than an actual police station. Like, Jack gets the call from his wife and does the tape thing where he's got like a tape of himself agreeing.
I love it. He's got the tapes. I wrote them down. What is it? It was. Oh, I can't. Where the hell did I put
it? Isn't it called the Shrew?
The one he takes that is the Shrew, and it's.
But there are ones for different things, aren't there?
The other ones is creditors, blowing up a house, the mother-in-law, government office, twin brother did it, girlfriend, car wreck. Yeah, so you've got all these other different tapes that he can select from to put in the machine while he goes off and leaves it running.
But we're introduced then to Practice, who turns up to talk to Jack. Danny immediately warns him.
You can't trust him, Jack.
Yeah.
He's my best friend. He's like, you can't trust him. He killed Mozart.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he's like in a movie, and he's like, Amadeus, it won like 8 Oscars or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we then have.
We also get while he's sat there looking around at the. We get the desk sergeant handing out assignments to and pair assignments.
Yeah, and it's all buddy cop. It's all buddy cop. So everyone has a silly comedy buddy.
Huge overweight male cop, gorgeous female cop. You get the you're assigned with the animated cat. You got the Danny DeVito voiced Whiskers.
Oh well, we get to him now, right? Because that's when Decker is having a go at him.
He's a bit later, but yeah.
But I love that. So Decker's having a go at Slater in the office, and Danny's like, he sees the animated cat, and he's like, "That's ridiculous." And he says to Jack, he's like, "Look, it's definitely a movie. Like, there's an animated cat in there. An animated cat just walked in," and Jack immediately turns around and says, "Like, he was only suspended for 2 weeks. He's meant to be back on duty."
Yeah.
But yeah, Danny DeVito, superb as the animated cat, of course.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget, because you always associate twins with Danny DeVito and Schwarzenegger, but yeah, Danny DeVito was in this as well.
He's in another one as well, isn't he?
I think he's in a couple, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Decker's like, who the hell is this kid? Because he starts to say things that he shouldn't know. Like, he knows the secret about. Didn't he like cover for him at some point with some ridiculous lie about gonorrhea or something?
He's just saying about how they love each other and that they're best friends and stuff, and that's why you shout at him all the time. And he's just saying about confessing after his wife had an affair or something. I can't remember what it is now. That's really annoying. But he's like, he cried to him because you told me you wouldn't tell anybody. He says, I didn't.
Yeah. So they're suspicious that he knows so much. And obviously they call around in the movie world, but he doesn't exist. And they're like, who are you? Where'd you, what's your name? And he says, my name is Danny Madigan. And then eventually he just lies and says, oh yeah, I slipped off the sidewalk, off a bridge, and fell into the car. And, they're like, okay, well, truth at last. And, and then the Decker kind of questions, like, why were they after you? And he says, oh, Frank, they killed my brother Frank, my cousin Frank. And Danny immediately mentions Vivaldi, and Jack's like, how do you know that? And he's like, oh, I saw it. I saw it in the movie. And then, of course, as everyone else does, Decker's immediately like, I've got an idea. Here's your new partner.
Yeah.
The child is your partner now. And Danny kind of like, I love when they're walking out, Danny's like explaining the movie, that this makes perfect movie logic.
Yep.
He's like, I'll teach you how to have a, more of a heart, and you'll teach me how to be brave. It's like the perfect trade-off, And
again, I love it. They're walking out, and you've got the two cops coming in. You've got one woman in this like almost complete red.
With the shotgun or whatever in her.
I think it's like a AK-47 or something. She's carrying some massive gun, and there's another one with a police helmet on. Sorry, not a bike helmet on, and they're just like wandering past, with their bums out and stuff. He mentions about the phone numbers, doesn't he? The 555 thing.
Oh yeah, and he says, I bet everyone's got a 5. No, he does that in the video store, and he's like, I bet everyone's got a 555 number, and he's like, yeah, but that's why we've got area codes.
Yeah.
So he says to him, like, hey, why don't you just take your gun out and shoot me? And he's like, right, so you're convinced that you're in a movie? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll give you 10 minutes to prove it to me, then I'll shoot you. They get the angle perfect. It's like angle perfect to the RoboCop exit as well.
Yeah. And it's a PG.
It's a PG movie. Yeah.
You can't shoot me because I'm not a bad guy.
Yeah. So he gets him to take him to a video store to prove it. Of course, we then get Stallone as the Terminator.
Yeah.
On
I love
on
his
the thing.
movie.
Yeah.
Got Angie Everhart as the the woman behind the desk.
Yes. Yeah. And you've got some real posters back there. They had like a Bram Stoker's Dracula poster and stuff
Yep.
in the background.
Which
But
comes up
yeah,
again
so
later.
yes, indeed. So he does the number thing, as you said, to the random girl, which Jack
Yeah.
thanks him for afterwards. Jack's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that was really sweet the way you got that girl's number."
Yeah, it's okay, I'm a cop. You can tell him your number, it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, he says like, then Danny's like, "Okay, I can prove it. I'll take you to where your cousin Frank was killed. I've seen it. I saw it on screen." So then they start driving around trying to find the house.
Yeah.
Based off of Danny's memory. And he explains the ticket to Jack. Obviously, Jack doesn't believe him. He's like, "Oh, any minute now, we're going to drive into the theater." And obviously, it doesn't happen. Which is bloody good, really.
Yeah.
I mean, what if people were actually watching a film that day, you know? So yeah, so he finds the house eventually. He's like, "Oh, it looks like that house." And then he's like, "Oh no, exactly like that house." He's like, "The bad guys are in there." And Slater's like, "Wow, that's fantastic. You should have this badge. Like all of this training I've done, and all you need to do is point at a house and go, the bad guys are in there." And I love because he lists like, you know, psychology and surveillance, and it's like, you never do any of these fucking
exactly.
things. Like,
and he even says later on when he's talking about getting clues and stuff, and how like usually they find the obvious clue, or they just come and kidnap him.
Yeah. So they head up to the door anyway. And Slater, they get the guy answers the door. And he says, "Hello, can I speak to the drug dealer of the house, please?" He's like, "We're out murdering drug dealers today." We're wondering if the drug dealer's in. And of course he just gets laughed at.
And it's Professor Taru Tanaka as well, isn't it? Who was Sub-Zero, not Sub-Zero. Yeah, he was Sub-Zero, wasn't he?
He is Sub-Zero, yeah. In The Running Man, yeah. Yeah, so then he goes to walk away and he turns around, he's like, "I'll be back. You weren't expecting that, were you?" He's like, "That's like your catchphrase. You always say that." So then of course, Charles Dance answers the door, Benedict. And he says, "You know, are you a henchman?" And Benedict goes, "I only go as high as lackey."
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. And
he's got glasses. He's got sunglasses on, so you can't see his eyes.
Yes, but he does show how well trained his dogs are by getting them to to stand on each other in a triangle. But you know,
he says the next click of my fingers, you'll find yourselves being excreted from several canine bottoms or something. And he's like, you won't have any fingers or something. I'll stop your fingers.
And Jack says, "Oh, you know," he's like, "Is there any? Is it like you guys can, you know, or you guys can fuck off? You know, you and Toto can fuck off back to Kansas." He's like, "Have you got any questions?" He's like, "Yeah, 2 of them." He's like, "Number 1, I could be doing something more dangerous, like organizing my sock drawer, I think."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "And 2, how are you going to snap your fingers when I rip off both of your thumbs?"
That's what he says.
And yeah, so he asks to see his eye, doesn't he? And of course, it's the smiley face, which is not what Danny said. Although, you know, you have to admit that's pretty close. The fact he even had a fake eye is pretty bloody close to what Danny said anyway, right?
Yeah.
But of course, Benedict hears him as he walks away, talking about he had a target on his eye. So immediately he's curious as to who this kid is and how he knows things.
Yeah.
of course Vivaldi is like, how did he know? How did Jack know we were here? Like, why is he here? And yeah, so he's like curious as to what's going on, and of course, Benedict is like, curious about Danny specifically and how he knew something that happened in private. Meanwhile, they're heading to Brittany's house, his wife's house, I guess, his ex-wife.
Yeah, it's his ex-wife's house.
And Danny's saying, "Oh, come on, that guy must have been guilty of something." He's like, "Yeah, he's guilty of being an asshole, but if I arrest him, I have to arrest like half of California."
Yeah. And what also, every time they slag someone off in this movie, they basically mention how awful politicians are.
Yeah. So they knock on the door, and immediately Danny gets kissed by Brittany. Is it Brittany?
Whitney.
Is it Whitney? He gets her name wrong, though, doesn't he? Oh, Meredith, because Meredith's the actress's name.
He calls her by the actress.
He calls her Meredith. Her name is Whitney. That's right.
Of course, Bridget Wilson, who was Sonia Blade.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is also very good in Billy Madsen as well.
Yeah, I love her psychotic murder scene in this movie.
Yes. The screaming.
Great. The screaming as she just murders this guy.
Yeah.
Because at first you're like, oh, she's just going to knock him down. But then she actually just breaks his neck and murders him. It's great. So anyway, she basically says, oh, no, there's like, he's like, why, she's like, oh, yeah, there's this thing going on. It's a sorority thing. They assign you to a freshman. When he comes to the door, you have to kiss him. Which was set up for later.
Yeah.
But
the one that's supposed to be turning up there is called Skeezy.
Skeezy, yes. While they're waiting, because she goes to have a shower, I think, and then we get the bit with the money. They've got some fake money that burns a special color, and he says, "I've been trying to pay alimony with it," or whatever, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So
you get the nice setup for later.
Yeah, you get the nice setup for later, and you also get the picture of Andrew, right? Him and Andrew, which kind of makes him think of Danny, and then obviously
which actually is nicely set up, because you get
it works.
You get the fact that in the very beginning, when the movie goes out of focus, you don't actually know what happened.
Yeah,
you don't see what happens to his son in that particular movie. So you get the nice sort of like little callback later on, which is pretty well done. I like it.
Yeah, I think it happens almost immediately, because he goes for the drive, doesn't he? He drives away from the house to get some air, and you see that basically the Ripper pulled Andy down with him off the roof.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that kind of gets Jack out of the house long enough. He goes to like a concession stand and buys a magazine or whatever while he thinks about the murder of his son. Which of course then means that Whitney and Danny are alone in the house. And of course they get a knock at the door. They get a
little discussion about the son, because Danny's looking at the picture of the kid, and Whitney says,
"Oh yes, yeah, that's right.
He would have been about your age."
Mm-hmm.
When he died, it's before he died, sort of thing, and then there's the knock at the door, and she says it must be Skeevy.
Yeah, and he says, "Oh, I'll get rid of him." But of course, it's Benedict and goons, who end up kind of entering the house. They grab Whitney and Danny. She's kind of thrashing and making too much noise, so Benedict tells one of the guys to go and shut her up. And I love Danny goes, "If you harm one hair on her head," and he's like, "Stop,
stop!" The guy's bed for something, just walks casually over to her, pulls out a single strand of hair, walks over to him, wraps it around his fingers, and yanks it in two. Like you were saying.
So good.
And he apparently Charles. So apparently the role was originally slated for Alan Rickman.
Oh, I could see that. I could see that too,
Yeah,
actually.
and Rickman wanted too much money.
Right.
So when apparently Dance found out a bit later that he wanted that, so he wore a T-shirt around the set that said, "I'm cheaper than Alan Rickman."
So Benedict has Danny kind of, well, has him to himself effectively, and starts questioning him about, how he's here, because he sees his ID and he's like, Danny from New York. He's like, you're a long way from home. How did you get here? How did you know the eye that I was wearing?
Well,
and
he
Danny,
says he heard it. He heard tapes, didn't he? He said you were recording. There's recordings everywhere, and he says, "What, in all of the statues, I suppose?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course it is." And then he says, "And how did you know what eye I was wearing?"
yeah, and then he says, I saw it in a movie, but then he quickly corrects it to, there's cameras in the statues.
Yeah.
He says, look, we don't know where Jack Slater is. We don't know what's going on. Just, there's money in the desk. Take the money and go. And of course the henchman's like, holy shit, there's like $1 million of of cash here. Immediately starts trying to pocket it, but Benedict's too smart for that. And he's like, these bills are marked, aren't they? You're trying to fob me off with marked bills. And so he tells him to burn them, which is quite fortunate for Danny. Because of course burning them means that they then burn red smoke, which obviously immediately alerts Jack, who is on his way back. Whitney does her murder. The guy who's trying to, I guess, assault her, not quite sure, or just hold her. But she kicks his ass and then breaks his neck.
I was going to say, I think it's a PG, so I don't think we were going to get an assault.
Oh no, it's a PG movie. You're right. Yeah, so he was just holding her in another room, I guess. But she breaks his neck, which I thought was hilarious.
And she's bouncing around the room, like smacking him, and every time she hits him, she screams.
Yeah, it's really funny. She in the nick of time turns up with the pistol.
Yep.
That she got off the guy that she just murdered. And yeah, so there's then a knock at the door. They get the gun off her. There's a knock at the door. They drop the gun. He's like, I'll leave the gun. Just go get the door. They go to the door, but it's Skeezy that's at the door, and Jack comes through the skylight.
With his eyes closed and his lips puckered.
Yeah. I love Slater comes down between them and he's like, hi, and just grabs both of their Uzis and just shoots them.
And I love the exaggerated recoil and movement as they're dying. It's brilliant.
I like, you got the guy, then he kills a guy in a chair and then rips out a cable from the wall and electrocutes a guy in the chair to shoot the Uzi at the guy on the other side of the room.
Shoot the other guy.
So good. But yeah, so obviously Slater, obliterates the henchman, and then ultimately Benedict flees.
And I love it. The daughter's got a black eye from, immediately has a black eye from being slapped.
Yeah.
Which of course sends Slater into a rage.
It does, and Slater jumps out of the top floor of this building, and you see how far he falls. It's ludicrous. Ludicrously far. Slater, of course, gets in his car. Danny obviously doesn't jump off the building, so he ends up taking, I don't know whose bike that's meant to be. A child's bike.
Yeah.
So Slater kind of shoots at Benedict, who turns around and heads back up. Where he comes across Danny riding down the road.
I like his way. He says something along the lines of, "Next time I'm going to get better armor for the car, maybe like a tank."
Yeah. So Danny's riding down on the bike, comes across the car, and in his brain he's like, "Look, I'm the action star. I'm the hero at the movie. This will definitely work. Chicken will work in my favor." Because of movie logic.
Yeah.
And he starts riding down towards him. And just as he gets close enough, he suddenly realizes that he's the comedy sidekick. He's like, "Wait a minute, I'm the comedy sidekick. This is not gonna work."
Yeah.
And of course, he changes his mind, swerves out of the way, and you get the slight fun ET kind of references. He's
Yeah,
cycling in front
he
of the moon.
bounces off the roofs of a couple of buildings and
Yeah.
across the moon,
and then lands at Slater's feet, basically.
Yeah. Well, Tangle. The bike's mangled and he's like upside down, isn't he?
Yeah. And he says, I think I scared them a bit, and Slater's like,
Yeah.
He's like, Slater did, Slater's like, oh, you did well, you did perfect, you did good.
That's one of the things that I actually love about this movie, actually, and full thing to Austin O'Brien, because so many like little kid stars of the period in this sort of movie are fucking annoying.
Oh, he's so great. He's really good.
Wonderful. He's really funny. He works really well, and I don't think I was ever even remotely annoyed by his character, which is really, really good, and it's exactly what you want in this sort of thing.
Yeah,
because I think he's really good. Be annoying.
I forgot to mention when Benedict took the ID, he took the ticket, so he now has the ticket, which he says to Slater. And Slater says, like, "Oh, that's a shame. I was hoping to keep it for my collection or something."
Yeah. That's a weird comment.
Yeah, it is a bit. So he Benedict heads back to the mansion, and he's going through his stuff when he throws the ticket down and notices that it's kind of all electrical and special. And he picks it up and tries to rest on a wall, and when he does, his hand goes through the wall. And you get the great Twilight Zone reference with the Twilight Zone on TV.
Music kicks in.
Yeah, you get Rod Sterling saying, you're traveling through a place, through another dimension. So Benedict is now aware that something special is going on with the ticket. Meanwhile, back at the house, you've got all of the police have turned up, and they've drawn chalk on the wall where Slater's thrown people through walls, like all of the crime scene. You got Skeezy, saying it, spelling out his name to the police.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I just love the idea that they even have crime scene investigators after this fucking massacre.
Yeah.
Danny's written down some swear words, I think, on a piece of paper, and he's like, "Hey, say this."
I think it's just the word "fuck."
Yeah, probably. But he refuses to say it. And then you get Skeezy comes up and he's saying, "Oh, Mr. Slater, I saw the guy with the missing eye running away." And Slater's like, "You mean the red eye?" And he's like, No, his eye was missing when he ran away. And then of course the police officer there picks up the eye and he's like, he reads it, it's like, "Vengeance is," and then he turns it. Why? And of course the explosion is massive.
Yeah.
But everyone's fine. or at least him, Whitney, and Danny.
I was going to say the main three are fine. I'm not sure about everybody else that was in the building. They're probably all dead.
So of course they get shouted at, which is weird. Like they get shouted at by the lieutenant, by Decker.
Yeah.
And it's like, what did they do though? They didn't do anything. Like they got like house invaded, and then there was a bomb put in their house. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this gets Slater fired.
I love it that he's shouting and screaming at them, and he doesn't make any sense at all. He's not even mostly using English words, and he's like, "Can you understand him?" He's like, "No, I don't think it's even in English." You got steam coming out of his ears.
Yeah, I love that. It's so good. And you get everyone in the police department's all sad that he's leaving. Practice comes up to him and offers him to help. Doesn't he want him to work the funeral?
It's the funeral, yes. There's a funeral of what's his name? Ricky the Fart or something?
Something like that, yeah. Leo the Fart is his
Leo
name.
the Fart. That's it.
Yeah. And he says, "Oh, you know, Leo was tough, and you know he's got all of this massive funeral. You should come work with him because I guess he's like private security or something.
Yeah.
But for some reason he's always walking around the police station. just he's
Well, I
always in the
think
police station.
he's like that. He's like the character from LA Confidential, isn't he? He's like
Yes, yeah.
what's what's his bloody name?
I can't think of his name either.
The guy who was Kaiser Sose.
Mm-hmm.
It's his character in LA Confidential. He's like a policeman, but he sort of does, you know,
Other work
he
on the
works
side.
with Hollywood on supposedly accuracy for movies.
Yeah. So Jack heads back to his apartment, dejected that he's been fired. I love that as soon as he walks in, he shoots the the wardrobe. And a guy falls out, and he's like, "How did you know there? How did you know that there was a guy in there?" He's like, "There's always a guy in there. It cost me a fortune in wardrobe doors."
Yeah. And I also love you opens his wardrobe door and
well, the same outfit.
Oh yeah, it's all the same jeans, it's all the same jackets, the same cowboy boots, and just a row of deagles.
The same deagle, yeah.
Yeah.
All loaded as well.
Of course.
And Jack kind of laments, "Oh, it's getting harder, Danny. You know, I used to be just a simple cop, trying to do good, and I keep getting caught up in these crazy schemes, but it's so weird because I keep surviving." And Danny says, "Oh, you know, these are the sequels. They've got to get harder." And I kind of love this like little thing you've got going on where like obviously Danny's seeing it all as a movie, but Jack is like, "It is actually my life, though."
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
his
like
life.
for me, it's my actual life. You know.
Yeah.
And he says, "You know, oh God, like my wife hasn't spoken to me for years. Do you really think I'd marry someone stupid enough to believe a tape recording? Like, I get some cashier somewhere to phone me every now and again to make it look like I've got a life." Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, you know, why can't Whitney be like a like a normal teenager? Like on prom night, she sits at home and she strips an AK-47."
Yeah.
And then he says, "You know, I'm gonna buy it soon." And Danny's like, "You're not gonna buy it, like, you know." Doesn't he say like until the sequels start falling off, like you'll never die, basically?
Yeah.
And then he brings up Leo the Fart again, which makes him think. You know, you get that moment in every silly movie where they're like, "Oh, wait a minute. This seemingly unrelated thing must mean this," and then of course he's pieced together.
Canisters of nerve gas were taken away, were stolen the other day.
And this guy they're burying is really fat. So the idea is that they've filled the guy with gas that they're then gonna explode at the funeral, taking out a load of mob bosses who were there for the funeral. Effectively, they've stuffed him full of TNT. And they're going to wipe out the whole mob all at once, the rival mob that they've supposedly made friends with.
Well, it's not the TNT because he says about the TNT and he says that's stupid, but nerve gas because he's the fart guy.
Yeah. I loved that during this whole conversation, they're just in the car and you just see the accidents that that Jack's causing along the way with cars swerving and crashing behind him. Oh, it's really good. But yeah, so they now believe they know what's going on. Of course, the funeral is packed with the mob. Benedict is there, kind of complaining about Vivaldi getting all of his sayings wrong. He says like, "Oh, I hope you don't mind me being here. I don't want to be a fifth wheel or a fourth wheel." Does he say
fourth wheel? Fifth wheel.
And yeah, so Benedict kind of primes the body to explode. You know, it's down to Jack and Danny.
I love the way he primes it as well. He pulls the finger.
Yes, yeah, which of course, fart jokes. Perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they get to the building, and they see Practice. Practice meets up with Slater, but of course Slater's onto him immediately. And as they walk away, he says, "Yeah, no, who are you working for, John? You know." He says, "Yeah, we both know there's no side entrance here." Practice, of course, pulls a gun on him, and he says, "Sorry, Jack. I didn't want it to go down this way. And of course, Danny told him not to trust him. He was right." And then they get into this argument where he's like, "He said you killed Mozart," and he's like, "Mo who? Zart." And he says, and of course Danny turns up behind him with a gun. And yeah, so it's a fun scene.
Yeah, well, he turns up the gun. He thinks they've got away, and then of course he gets taken as well. So that they're both about to die.
They both get captured, and yeah, so they're basically setting them up, aren't they? Effectively,
yeah.
And then Vivaldi escapes because they're like chained to a pipe or something, handcuffed to a pipe. So Vivaldi leaves, but he leaves Benedict, and he says, "Don't screw this up. You always screw it up. Don't mess this up." Meanwhile, Practice is about to kill Slater, but then of course the animated cat turns up and shoots him. And he's told to seal off the area because of the chemical explosion this about to happen. They head up to the funeral, and their plan is, or Jack's plan is, that he's going to go up and he's going to be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss." And then when he gets up to the body, he's going to put on a voice and pretend like he's not dead. And he's like, "Oh my God, he's still alive." And then start carrying him out. Meanwhile, he sent Danny to get the crane, because there's a tar pit nearby that they're gonna use, or I guess the plan at the moment is to get the body off the building. I guess.
Yeah, just to move it off. Yeah, remove it. I think.
But of course, he runs up with a gun, so everyone runs away, and then Danny has to use the crane himself, or figure out how the crane works himself. Obviously, this is a mob funeral, so the second that Arnie tries walking away, they all pull like a million guns.
Yeah.
But they won't shoot because they're worried that he's going to drop Leo. I'm assuming the guy who said that is probably one of the guys that is aware that there's chemicals in there.
I guess not, because everybody that knew it was there is gone. So
well, some of them have, but
I guess they just didn't want the my guess is they just didn't want the disrespect of
yeah, maybe
damaging the body.
But of course, Slayer, they all pull guns on him, and he's like, "Don't shoot!" And he just chucks the body off the roof, which gets caught onto the crane. You then get they all kind of run after Slater with their guns. You get the granny with the machine gun.
Yeah.
That she pulls out of her purse. But yeah, so massive gunfight. Jack, of course.
5K, I think.
Sorry?
That's an MP5K, I think.
I have no idea. I don't know guns, I'm afraid.
I'm not an expert. I know a bit about guns. I quite like guns, so.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I like them in movies and stuff. I just don't know them very well. It's not something that sticks in my brain, I know the basic ones, and then after that,
I think that I'm one of the world's basic ones. I particularly like Western guns, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's trying to escape. You get the helicopter, which is great because they do the bit with the elevator, the glass elevator. He's going down the elevator, opens the door to escape the helicopter, and you got all the guys who ducks, and the helicopter, of course, takes out everybody. Danny makes the save with the crane, right? And then Slater shoots at the window, and the helicopter then obviously crashes. But it breaks the lift in the front of the lift kind of breaks off. So Jack's then kind of hanging on to the lift.
Yeah, because the lift's on the side of the building, isn't it? It's one of those ones that's one of those free hanging lifts.
Yeah. But of course he's saved by Danny. But of course now he's holding on to the body of Leo. who's counting down with like a minute left or whatever. So Danny decides, I guess with not much other choice, to drop him in a tar pit, which works. They both fall into the tar pit, and Slater gets out.
You get the explosion, which just creates this big bubble that just rises to the surface.
Yes.
And you hear the explosion, and then it just slowly sort of recedes back into the tar.
Yeah. But then I love like Slater's complaining about the whole situation whilst like wiping the tar off of himself, and Danny's like, normally tar sticks to people. It's like wiping himself clean.
He's just got the faintest. He cleans himself up, and he's just got the faintest smear of black here and there. Yeah, and I love. And then you get Whitney turns up in her monster truck.
Yeah,
and says, "I thought you need a change of clothes."
Yeah, for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's like, isn't this convenient to anybody else? It just seems a bit weird.
Yeah. But yeah, so day saved, I guess. And you do get the silent but deadly joke, which is quite funny.
Oh yeah, of course.
But the tar pit. Meanwhile, back at Vivaldi's mansion, Benedict has come back, and he kind of briefly strings Vivaldi along, saying like, it went well.
Wonderful. Everybody died. Women, children, all died. It was horrible. It was great.
And he asked for details, and he's like, "No, I'm lying. It was a total shit show." It's like it was bloody awful. It's complete cock up. But of course, he murders Vivaldi, and basically takes over his crime empire, I guess.
Yeah.
Because in these movies, that's all you have to do is just murder the boss, and then you're the boss now. It's fine.
Bring on rules.
Yeah. Oh, and you get one last bad line from Vivaldi, right? He's like, "You do a 280 on me," or whatever. Doesn't he say something like that?
Yeah. It's like,
no, he says no. He's like, "Why are you doing a 360 on me?" It's like, "I didn't do it. It's a 180. If I did a 360, I'd be right back where I started."
Yeah. And I love his complete confusion. He doesn't understand the mistake. Doesn't understand it at all. He's like, that so?
Yeah. And then what I love is from this point on, Benedict starts breaking the fourth wall. Yeah. And talking directly at the audience.
Yeah.
And he explains that if Danny can go between worlds, then so can he go between worlds, And I love when he looks at the screen, he's like, "If God was a villain, he'd be me."
Yes.
Such a good line. And then of course the butler comes in, and he says, "Can I get you anything, sir?" And he's like, "No, but the pool could use some attention." Just then the monster truck bursts through the wall as Jack and Danny enter the building. Jack immediately pulls a gun on him before Benedict has a chance to do anything, and so he says, "All right, Slater, you got me. I'll go quietly. I'll ask that. You got me." And he starts beating him up. He starts like punching him for his sister, and he grabs his hand and slaps his wrist for his wife. He's like, "This is for my wife." Slap.
My wife's
yeah. And then he throws Benedict through the wall, but of course he falls through the wall because he has the ticket. Danny then walks over and he's like, "Oh my god, he must have the ticket, but the portal's still open. We need to go now." And Slater says, he's like, "I'm not worried that you're wrong anymore. I'm worried that you're right." And he says, like, "If I go, how will I get back?" And Danny says, "Oh, you can't go through life nitpicking every little thing. Come on, let's go." So of course Slater follows him. And then Slater ends up in the real world, quote unquote.
Yeah.
in the shithole. He's in the cinema. They run outside. It's raining. Slater's like, "We're in New York. How are we in New York? Like, none of this makes any sense." But of course, we see Benedict and the butler. They steal a cab and start driving away. And Slater says, "Yeah, here's another explosion for your movie, kid." And he shoots at the car, and nothing happens.
Yeah, just goes through the
couple of bullet holes.
Yeah. And the confusion on his face, it's amazing.
And then he punches through the window of the car to steal the car, and he's like, "My wrist hurts, like that hurts." Yeah. And Danny's like, "You can't just punch through car windows. Like, it's not the movie. You're in the real world now." And yeah, so they're having a bit of a chase, and ultimately he decides he's going to try and play chicken. Danny warns him. He's like, "You can't play chicken. This isn't a movie anymore. If you do this, you're gonna die." You know, he's like, "Car crashes can kill you. Don't do it." But of course he won't listen. He does it anyway. And of course there's a big crash. And you do get that moment.
It's a spectacular crash. It's really good.
It is. Yeah. No, it does look really believable. Of course, like. Slater just comes out of the car and is like, "Oh, that really hurt." But he says, like, Danny's like, "Oh, you're so lucky." And he's like, "Lucky? I wasn't lucky." And he talks about the car model and the airbag in it. So he obviously knew that the car had an airbag, which is like, so he's not all that stupid.
The taxi cab doesn't have airbags.
Yeah.
Just the poor old henchman through the windscreen. He's not getting up.
Yeah. But of course they can't find Benedict, and then
I love it.
Surmises.
You've got to check the body. Of course he's dead. Look, he's dead. He goes, "Yeah, but you got to check the because don't you remember Die Hard? That guy's hanging up there. He's like dead, and he still comes back."
But of course Danny surmises that Benedict must have used the ticket to escape. Effectively. And then Jack sees a poster of Arnold Schwarzenegger starring as Jack Slater in Jack Slater 4. And obviously that's quite a shock to him, because now he realizes that he is in the real world and that his whole life is fictional. And you get quite a cool scene with Nick, because he heads back to Nick, the projectionist. And he explains that, I was in the movie. I actually went into the movie, and and he's like, "Hey, look, here's." Oh no, that's great, because Nick starts talking about, "Oh my god, I could go see all the greats," and he starts listing all the great actors that he wants to see. And then he thinks that Schwarzenegger's there, so he's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm a big fan of your movies too." And Danny's like, "No, it's not who you think it is." And you get quite a sweet scene with Slater kind of talking about how his whole life is just a lie. It's just for entertainment. People die, but it's just entertainment for people in the real world. Yeah, I thought it was quite a sweet scene, actually.
It is really sweet.
And I think at this point, this whole stuff works really well. They're like, "Oh, he's come into the real world, and real world physics exists now." It's kind of as this continues that it becomes more problematic. Not enough to ruin the movie, I don't think. It's nitpicky things.
No, it's small minor things like later on with the
with death and and yeah. So they talk for a bit, and they kind of lament that they don't have the ticket anymore. I was surprised that Nick doesn't suggest the other side of the ticket. Like, no one thinks about it until death.
No.
But, who knows? In any case, Danny takes Slater to his home, to his mum, who is obviously distraught. He's been missing for hours. The police have been calling, and, all sorts. And he says, "Oh, you told me to meet new friends. Like,
he told me to make friends.
Here's Arnold Schwarzenegger." Doesn't he call himself the famous comedian Arnold Braunschweiger or something?
Braunschweiger or something. Yeah, Braunschweiger or something along those lines.
Yeah, so Jack is making friends. Meanwhile, one of my favorite scenes of the movie. You've got Benedict in the real world walking along the street, and he sees someone get mugged and killed, and then he's like, "There's no police. Like, where are the police sirens?" And then he walks up to this poor mechanic, and he's like, "Hey, actually, excuse me, sir."
This before he does that. What's better than that is, so first of all, he sees that a guy gets mugged for his shoes, and
he gets killed for his shoes.
Yeah, he's horrified. Yeah, he's horrified that he's like, for his shoes. And then he gets proposition, or he gets propositioned. He gets propositioned by a very young prostitute, and and again, he's horrified by how young she is, because he's from a villain from a PG movie.
Yeah. But of course he sees that there's no gunshot, there's no police after the gunshots, and no one seems to care. People are just walking past. So he goes to this poor mechanic and he's like, "Excuse me, I was wondering if you could help me prove a theory." And this poor guy's like, "Yeah, sure, what do you want, buddy?" And he's like, "Well," just pulls that gun and shoots him. And then he's just looking at his watch, waiting. He's like, "No sirens, nothing. No one cares." And then he starts shouting like, "I have just murdered a man," and all he gets for his trouble is someone tells him to shut up.
Yeah, it's like, hello. "I've just murdered a man. I've done it on purpose. I wish to confess." I was like, "Shut up, buddy."
The following morning, you see that Danny wakes up, and you see that Arnold and his mother have made, or Slater and his mother have made. They've made friends, and he kind of is like, "Oh no, you've scrambled his brains. You've turned him into a girl." But of course she's like, "Oh, why didn't you tell me that he was a police officer?" And because obviously Slater's been telling him he's a cop and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I guess he has the movie badge, so it's believable enough, I suppose. But yeah, they Slater's then like, "Oh, you should help your mother out more. You shouldn't be doing these things to your mother." And
and I love his mum's just sat there and like with this big grin on her face as like she's listening to him saying all the things that she's been telling him to do.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, they talk about trying to catch Benedict. And his mother's like, "Oh no, you're never gonna find him." And Slater's like, "Don't worry, there's only 8 million people in the city, and I'm very good at finding people."
Yeah.
She puts the radio on as well with Mozart. And he's like, "Who's this?" And she's like, "Mozart." And he's like, "Oh, the guy that practice killed."
Yeah.
But yeah, and he realizes that he loves classical music. It's the first time he's ever heard it. And
he's never heard it before.
Nope, never heard it until right now.
Used to rock music.
Yeah, I guess so. Whatever the movie soundtrack is, which you get the impression is probably always rock.
Yeah.
Well, 4 certainly was all rock, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, so they're on the hunt for Benedict. Meanwhile, Benedict is you see he's kind of gathering the supervillains. He's gathering movie villains.
I love it. They're in the diner, and you get that.
Yes, he's colouring in the Dracula.
He's colouring in the Dracula, and I like it. There's a whole list of movies that are on there. I think there's Jacob's Ladder, Single White Female.
Yeah.
What's the other ones? Oh, Sleepwalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Jagged Edge. So there's all these sort of like movies that with great villains in them as he's sort of pulling back, and he's explaining about he'll never be free until Slater's dead. So that's why he's brought you into the thing, and they pan back, and obviously it's the Ripper from Jack Slater. Is it 4?
Yeah, 3. I think 4 is the one that we were just in.
Yes.
Yeah. So his plan is to kill Arnold Schwarzenegger, though.
Yes.
Because if Arnold dies, then there's no more Jack Slater.
Yeah.
Obviously not thinking enough that if there's no Jack Slater, there wouldn't be any villains either. So
yeah,
at that point they might all get erased, but never mind. So I love this idea. I love the idea of now the villain is like, well, actually, you can get away with crime in this world. This world's way easier to do crime in.
Yeah,
And then he's gonna bring other villains in, from other movies. It's a really cool concept. I really like it. And then
yeah,
of course you've got you've got Arnold, or Slater really struggling with his humanity now. They have kind of an argument briefly, outside of a movie theater.
yeah.
And
Because
then of course,
that's when he says again. He points out again that it's usually things just clues turn up, or I get kidnapped by the bad guy. That's how it
yeah,
works.
that's how it works. That's how this should work. Yeah. Um, but of course, that's not how it works. However, they do see Benedict very briefly. He does escape into. He gets in a cab and disappears again into the movie world.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So
He runs out after the taxi driver. He pulls him out, and what is it he says? Rubber baby bumpers or something. And he says,
something like that. Yeah.
"Yeah, you didn't know I was going to say that, did you?" Like
But of course
desperately trying to prove that he's not a sort of an action star.
Yes, yeah. But you do then see the newspaper. They find the newspaper with Arnold Schwarzenegger on it, and they realize, oh goodness, that's what this was all about. They need to get to the premiere and save Arnold Schwarzenegger, otherwise no more Jack Slater.
Yeah.
Again, a really cool idea, a really cool setup. And then you get all of the celebrity cameos as themselves at the premiere, which I love. Arnold even makes quite a lot of fun of himself, his real self, not just his action hero self.
I love his wife saying, "Don't mention the planet Hollywood, okay? It's really embarrassing when you mention the planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
Just talk about the movie and move on."
Yeah.
He's being interviewed by the guy, and he says, Arnold's like, "Yeah, it's great in this movie because we only kill 48 people, and in
the last
movie
movie we killed 103 or something.
119, I think he says." And it's like, so we're trying to concentrate on the story and less of the action, which is really funny because you know about the game for this.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, the game, the last action hero game, Arnold insisted that it have no guns in it.
Yeah.
So the guys who were coming up with the game were like, "This is brilliant. We just got loads of guns. We have all these explosions and fight scenes and stuff." And Arnold was like, "No, you're not allowed. I don't want to be associated with weapons." So
Yeah.
it became
ridiculous.
It became a fight game, a punch game, and it was fucking awful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And then the funny thing is the game tie-in for True Lies. It's just got loads of explosions and guns in it.
Yeah.
So it obviously didn't last very long. His I need to move away.
I guess he probably saw the reviews and was like, oh.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just walked into a game store at some point and was like, oh, actually, every game's got guns in it, so it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, they're rushing to the premiere, and at the premiere, obviously, we've got the real celebrities, but we also have the Ripper who turns up. And I love that his publicist sees him and thinks it's the actor, not the Ripper.
Yeah.
Of
course. I like the red carpet interviewers are like, "Oh, look, here's Tom Noonan." He goes, "What are you here?" He goes, "Oh, you were dressed up as the Ripper today." He goes, "What are you here for?" He goes, "Oh, I think I'm going to kill some people." And he's like, "Yay!" And off he goes. And then the real Tom Noonan turns up, and they're like,
and they're just totally confused.
Weren't you just here, sort of thing?
I love the publicist takes him upstairs to like try and get a tux to him. He's like on the phone while the Ripper's just building his axe.
Yeah, and he's there. You don't want to be typecast as a serial killer for the rest of your career.
Yeah, he says, did Jack Nicholson turn up as the Joker to the Batman premiere? No, he didn't.
And he's just calmly assembling this axe while he's tossing around him.
Yeah.
And the cameos some of the cameos are brilliant. You've got like randomly Little Richard.
Yeah.
You've got Chevy Chase.
Van
Damme, yeah. You've got Jim Belushi, who has a whole interview about saying that he doesn't like Arnold.
Yeah, well, he did Red Heat with him, right?
Red
So
Heat
I
with
guess
him, yeah.
they go back. I love
That's
Red Heat.
something I haven't seen for years.
I love Red Heat. Red Heat's
I
great
don't know
fun.
how that holds up.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't hold up as well as this, but it's good fun.
No, I don't think I've seen that since it came out. To be honest,
I've got it on DVD. I haven't seen it for a while, but it's good fun.
oh.
I love that Slater runs up to the concession stand and he's like, "Where am I sat?" And then he takes his hat off and he's like, "Where am I sat?" And they're like, "The VIP lounge over there." Oh, he's up on the balcony, isn't he? The second balcony. So of course they're headed for the balcony. Meanwhile, Danny is going down on the ground floor or one of the upper floors, but he notices the Ripper. And so of course he screams out to Jack that it's the Ripper. And of course the Ripper is up on the top balcony, ready to throw an axe at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Slater intervenes, tries to shoot at the Ripper, but is then taken down by Arnold Schwarzenegger himself.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a ridiculous moment in the movie. I think it would have been better if Arnold was more cowardly. But whatever.
I can't imagine Arnie would want to do that.
I know, but this is such a send-up of himself anyway. I guess you do get the fun interaction between the two of them. He's like, "You're the best stunt actor I've ever seen." He's like, "You look exactly like me."
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, you should come by Planet Hollywood or come see my agents, and we'll get you some work." And he's like, "Look, I don't really like you. You've caused me nothing but pain."
Yeah.
But of course, so Slater runs outside, and of course the press mob him because they think he's Schwarzenegger. And then of course he realizes,
doesn't he bump into he bumps into MC Hammer, doesn't he? Who says, "Hey, what about the soundtrack for the next movie?"
Yes, he does. Yeah, Slater 5 or whatever. Yeah. But of course Jack knows where he is. He realizes where he is. He's up on the roof. So Slater heads up to the roof, and we've got a recreation of the scene from earlier. Now it's Danny instead of Andrew, and they're kind of going to go through the whole situation again. Except this time the Ripper just throws Danny off the roof straight away. Schwarzenegger is incensed, or Slater's incensed. He kind of dodges the axe, but then he grabs the axe out of the wall, and this is where you're like, because he kills him in such an action movie way.
Yes.
Because he gets the electrical cable and he electrocutes the floor and then he dodges out of the way and it electrocutes everything and then you get the electricity. And I'm like, this is meant to be the real world.
Yeah.
Like, you should have just done something really quick and, just threw the axe at him and killed him with the axe or something. You know?
that would have worked. That I think would have been better if he did it that way. But the electricity thing, especially seeing as you can see the electricity.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, and also, like, it's not just the floor that's wet. The walls are wet. Jack's wet. He's lying on the wall, and you're like, this only works in a silly action movie. You should have not done. You shouldn't have done this.
No.
It's again, it's a nitpick, but it's like this movie's so close to being really, really good, and it's little moments like that kind of be like, I wish you'd kept the real world really grounded,
Yeah.
But anyway, Danny survived. He held on to something on the opposite building, and I guess Jack has some special powers occasionally because he manages to flip him back up onto the roof.
Yeah, he gets down and he basically. I like the interaction between them.
The trust me,
yeah. He's saying he can't do it. He's gonna fall, and he's like, because you can do it. You can trust me. I'm not gonna let you fall.
Yeah. But of course, as soon as they get back up on the roof, Benedict turns up and starts shooting at them. And he keeps shooting until then he goes through the list of people. He's like, oh, forget, he's like, I could bring Dracula or Dracula. And then he's like, oh, well, forget Dracula. I could get King Kong. He starts going through all of these villains that he could.
This is about inviting Hannibal Lecter so he can do the catering.
Doesn't he say, we'd have a dinner with Adolf Hitler and Hannibal Lecter could do the catering?
That's it, yeah. Dinner with Adolf Hitler and Hannibal Lecter will do the catering.
And a nightmare with Freddy Krueger, and and he says, the best thing is that they'll all come here because here the bad guys can win. And so he fires one more time, but of course there's nothing in the chamber. So Jack assumes that he's empty.
Yeah.
And he stands up and says, "Oh, you made the classic movie mistake," which of course they were doing throughout the movie, the classic movie mistake thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I just left one chamber empty,"
Yeah.
and shoots Jack, who now has a mortal wound. He's like
Yeah.
shot straight through the chest, and blood coming out of his mouth. He is proper dying. Benedict goes to oh no Danny runs it at Benedict. Benedict hits him, and Danny kind of feigns a broken arm. He then
and what I love about that is it's really bad kid acting as well. He's
terrible. Yeah.
And Benedict kind of falls for it.
Yeah. So then he Benedict starts strangling Jack. He pulls a knife, but Danny throws a pistol, doesn't he? He throws the gun. Because I think they have a struggle and the gun falls on the floor. Danny picks it up, throws it to Slater. So he gets shot with the gun. But of course that means the ticket then kind of flies up into the air and falls down in front of the seventh seal.
He shoots him through the eye because he says he's already got another. He has the eye's got another surprise for them, sort of thing. So
it's the explosion.
It's got the explosion in it, so he explodes when he gets hit.
Yeah. So the ticket falls on the ground outside the seventh seal. And then of course we get Ian McKellen, pre Sir Ian McKellen, I guess. He starts coming out of the picture. Meanwhile, Slater is in the ambulance, dying. They're trying all they can to kind of help him. But Danny's like, he needs to go back to where this is just a flesh wound. We need to take him back. And of course, he makes the same mistake as the Crane. He pulls a gun out, everyone runs.
They run.
So now he's got to drive the ambulance back. Meanwhile, Death is.
I love it. He says to him, "Can you drive?" He says, "Of course I can drive. I watched you do it."
Yeah. Death escapes the cinema and literally kills people by touching them. So now we're in he has full movie powers in the real world.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's cool. Ian McKellen, of course, perfect in this role. Pulls it off amazing.
I mean, the thing is, it's not like he has to do a lot. He just has to stand there.
No, but I thought he has the sweet moment with the ticket and stuff, and talking about he's going to die a grandfather and things. He's got a few nice little bits. But yeah, he drives the ambulance back through, gets Nick to fire up the projector, and he's just hoping that even without the ticket, maybe the magic will just work because is Slater, right?
Yeah.
Death, of course, comes for him, and Danny kind of pulls a gun on Death, and it's like, no, you're not taking him.
Well, this is where he says he alludes to his father. He says, you don't get to decide, who to take. He's not this time.
Yeah.
So he alludes to the death of his father. And this will be the death of his other father, as it were.
Yeah.
But
I like says,
he says,
I was curious.
He's not. Don't worry, he's not on my books. I was just curious.
I think he says he's curious because he's not on his books. He was curious that someone's not on his death list ever. And it confused him. But then he does say, "You're on my list," and he's like, "Now?" And he's like, "No, you're going to die a grandfather." And he says, "You're a very brave young man, but not very bright." It's like, if I were you, I'd be looking for the other half of the ticket. And it's weird because when you're like, yeah, that's kind of an obvious thing to do. But I must admit, the first time I'd watched the movie, I hadn't considered that either. So it's like, oh yeah, actually, that's a really good point. There is two halves of a ticket. But yeah, so Danny goes and finds the other half of the ticket, and now of course they're going to get Jack back somehow, but it doesn't work. And he says, "Oh, this is going to save us. It's going to save us. And Slater's like, throw that silly thing away. But as soon as he grabs it, of course, the magic happens. Nick hasn't even put the film in the projector, but
No.
the projector starts up by itself. And of course they're transported back. And in the movie, you've got Decker complaining about where's Slater, and it's like, you fired him. He doesn't work here anymore.
Yeah. I'm guessing he does that all the time, and it doesn't.
Oh yeah, they fire him every day, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that does happen in those cop movies. There's so many of those movies where like every time.
Well, look at Dirty Harry at the end of the first.
I was just going to say Dirty Harry.
He literally throws his badge away.
Yep. So they're in the movie world. The cartoon cat sees them, calls for the doctor, and then they have a sweet moment. Slater and him. He's like, I'm an imaginary hero, Danny. You have a real life. Danny's like, oh, you're real to me. Don't you get it? Like you're the best thing. And he goes to say, like, you're the best thing in my life. But then he's like, I need you. And he's like, well, I can always be here for you. But I need you to be out there. I need you to take care of your mother. And you almost get the feeling that Jack wants that life. He kind of, I think, is probably like kind of attracted to his mother and like interested in potentially having a relationship there,
Well, I imagine, the normal. She's a normal woman who's like.
Yeah, he's never seen anyone like this before.
No.
He would have never met a woman like this because all he sees are the people in this movie world,
Yeah.
And he says, like Danny says, I don't want to. I have this horrible feeling I'll never see you again. And Slater says, anyone that thinks that is making a big mistake, which obviously is character's catchphrase. So Danny heads back to the real world. The doctor comes over and he's like, what the fuck? Like, I wouldn't even call this a flesh wound. He's like, he's totally fine. There's like blood all over him, but it's like, yeah, he's fine. And so Nick's back with Danny. Meanwhile, we see Slater in the movie, and he's like, he punches the window, and he's like, oh, it's working again.
That's coming out of your meager paycheck.
Your undeserved meager paycheck.
Yeah.
And then he tells Decker to shut up, and he's like, you know what you are. You're the comic relief, and I'm the action hero. So shut up. And he kind of winks at Danny, winks through the screen. And he says how he doesn't want to, just kill people anymore, and he wants to do other things. Danny in the real world goes to give Nick the ticket, and Nick says, "No, it's yours." He says, he says the ticket's yours, and I think the magic was yours as well. And it's a sweet ending.
You literally get him driving off into the sunset at the end.
Well, you get them walking out of the theater, presumably for the last time. Because they're talking about it being bulldozed and whatever. And then you see the Slater driving off waving. It's clearly not Arnold driving that car, which always bugged me. But,
no.
Aside from that, it's a nice shot. But yeah, that's the end of the movie. I really love this movie. I think it's a really lovely fantasy what if movie. I think it's got some lovely things.
I mean, it was originally conceived as a straight up, sort of parody of action movies, and there was
without the movie bit.
Yeah, so originally it was just going to be a movie parody with none of the real world stuff. That got added a bit later. So it was originally written by Adam Leaf and Zach Penn. And they specifically said it's going to be a parody of Shane Black movies.
Right.
And then they gave it to Shane Black to rework.
Brilliant. I imagine Shane Black has a pretty good sense of humor, though, to be fair.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. And then it was also given to what's the guy's name? The guy who did Princess Bride, the guy who wrote The Princess Bride. It was
Oh,
given to
okay.
him. It was given to him, and he worked on it as well, and even Carrie Fisher worked on it. So it got passed around a lot of people before it became, what it is. But I just find it hilarious that it was, specifically Shane Black parody, but Shane Black worked on it.
Yeah. Well, who better, really? Who better to
Yeah,
parody than the person themselves?
and it fucking tanked. It absolutely tanked when it came out.
Yeah, it didn't do well. Yeah.
Didn't do well. And one of the reasons, why? One of the main reasons I would say
Mm.
it came out the same time as Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I mean, 93.
Yeah, 94 was great,
Jesus.
yeah. But it came
Yeah.
out exactly the same time, and Arnold even said to the because they, the movie had a deadline which didn't
Yeah.
help the movie either, and he said, can we please put it off? Can we please postpone it?
Yeah.
And they were like, no, you can't. And it
Because
just,
even before you knew how big Jurassic Park was, and the buzz leading up to Jurassic Park was massive, so
yeah,
people knew it was going to be huge.
oh
But it's
yeah,
still a massive Spielberg movie. Like,
yeah.
you don't
Spielberg
want
and
to do
dinosaur.
that.
You're,
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
yeah. And he promoted it ridiculously as well. He did his absolute best to try and get as many interviews and stuff. And they even had the first advertisement on a rocket.
Wow, I
You know,
did not know that.
yeah, you know what the worst thing about that is?
It
The rocket
exploded.
was delayed and it didn't
Oh
go up.
no.
It didn't go up before the movie was came out. So by the
Oh
time it
wow.
actually went out, the movie was already
Had
out and
tanked. Yeah.
failed anyway. So yeah, and it had
No,
really cool, it had cool action figures, and I don't think the action figures had guns, but they did have little Arnie voice clips and stuff. They were really
uh-huh.
cool figures actually,
Yeah.
but yeah, it just absolutely tanked. And I think on you know the press at the time didn't like the movie, and most of
I always remember as a kid this movie did not like I knew a lot of people that didn't like this movie. And
yeah.
I've always loved this movie. I guess there's an element of like, I was born in 84, so I'm seeing this I'm like 10 or something, and so
Mm,
I've watched it a lot as a kid, so that
yeah,
probably helps.
yeah,
But
and
I still think there's something really great about this movie. I think it's a really lovely concept, and I think for the most part it nails it.
yeah, and the weird thing is I think a lot of the sort of the press at the time were confused, like, oh, is this a comedy or is it an action movie? And you just sort of think,
Both.
yes, that's
It's
the
an
point exactly,
action comedy.
and it's done very well. I don't
Yes.
understand what your confusion is. There are other
No.
movies that don't handle those things together, but this one really does.
It's not like we're in 1993 and the John McTiernan has just created the action comedy. It's not
Yeah,
like he's just created that genre. Like there's been a few before, coming all the way back since cinema started.
yeah.
We've had action comedies and comedy, mashups plenty of
I
times
mean, it's
before.
it's the same sort of thing when you hear what people said about American Werewolf, and they're like,
Oh
"Oh,
God, yeah.
is it a comedy or is it horror?" And you just go, "Yes."
Yes.
I don't understand your confusion.
And I
What's the
think
problem here?
I think ironically, when they get confused about those things, it's when a movie does it really well. Like
Yeah,
American Werewolf in London is one of the few, what I would consider one of the few actually brilliant horror comedies. And I
yeah,
love a lot of horror comedies. I mean, I love Return of the Living Dead. Fucking love it.
hmm,
And I love like Shaun of the Dead's great, and all of those movies, those comedy horror movies are great. But American Werewolf in London is one of the few horror comedies I've ever seen that actually manages to be scary and funny.
yeah.
Both. Like Return of the Living Dead's an awesome movie, but it's not scary at any point. No, I'm not scared. But there
What
are
I
scenes on the moors. There's
I
scenes on the
think
fucking
a lot
moors
of
in that
people were
movie.
a lot of people were incredibly scared by Tarman. I think,
Oh yeah, maybe I never was, but yeah.
but no, yeah, there's a big difference between Tarman and
And the Moors at the start of that is genuinely scary, that stuff. And I think the same here. This genuinely nails it so well that it parts of this movie. I feel like you could be watching a Schwarzenegger movie when you're watching the stuff in the movie. You're like, this is close. It's really close to being a really silly 80s Arnold movie. Like it is like. Nothing in this movie is really more ridiculous than Commando. Not really.
No, God, no.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like it like genuinely could be. It kind of fits.
Commando is ridiculous, and I absolutely
it's
adore
so
that.
ridiculous. Oh, me too. But it is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Actually, there's a slight Commando link as well. Apparently, the chainmail vest that the Ripper used is the same chainmail vest that
it.
That what's his face? Whereas in Commando,
Bennett.
Yeah, Bennett. That's it. Bennett. Whereas in Commando,
I only know that because Let Off Some Steam, Bennett. That's the only reason.
Of course, yes.
It's like the only reason. But I think this movie is perfect in many ways. I think, like I said, it's got those few issues for me at the end with the continuity of the real world. Aside from that, I love it. I love it.
And it does bring up the questions of, well, if Dracula was brought into the real world, would he still be Dracula, or would he be?
I guess death is death, so I assume
that's it, isn't it?
So I'm assuming the rule, is the rule that whatever you are in the movie is what you are in the real world. So therefore, if you're human in the movie, you're just a human. But if you're supernatural, then you're still supernatural because that's what you are. Maybe that's the bullshit reasoning we could go with. I don't know.
That's fine. That works.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's nitpicks. I love this movie. It doesn't matter.
And I think, as you said at the beginning, I think it has been sort of rediscovered by people in recent years. I think it's taken a little bit more serious, as it were.
Yeah, I was going to say, I reckon up to about a decade ago, people just didn't give a shit about this movie. No. But I do feel like in the last decade, it's kind of picked up a little more steam, and people have been like, "Oh no, actually, this is kind of a hidden gem, and it is actually a really good movie." Yeah. It's certainly not Arnold's worst movie. It's not even Arnold's worst movie of the 90s. So it's a fine movie. Really like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was Last Action Hero. Definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it, and we will be back next week with our usual review fare. But until then, stay safe, take care, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.